Plaintiff Gary Marshall has a son with the defendant, and he claims their relationship was purely sexual. Gary says the defendant has been keeping his son from him for the past 4 years. And when he asked for pictures of his son, she sent naked pictures of herself, which Gary has in court today. Gary's suing his child's mother for emotional distress. Defendant Catherine Pointon says when she told Gary she was pregnant with his child, he wanted her to have an abortion. Catherine claims Gary didn't even see his son until he was 6 months old, and she insists she has never denied Gary the right to see his child. Catherine's countersuing for emotional distress.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
The fact that I stand before you today indicates that there is an impasse between Ms. Pointon and I in terms of communication. I've been estranged from my son since 2006. Even though there is a standing court order which specifies my visitation, the Pointons have been in direct defiance of this order.
Why don't you give me some background on your relationship before we get to the specifics of the issue you're suing about?
It didn't rise to the occasion of a relationship. It was a sexual relationship, Your
Okay,
Honor.
how long did that last? 2 minutes? No, I'm saying the relation. No, I'm saying some people fall out very quickly. Seriously, some people fall out very quickly. You know, they just go this. That's what I'm referring to, sir. Go ahead.
So gradually.
The nature of the relationship was just sexual. You had a sexual relationship.
Yes, sir.
You all would have sex or relations, as I like to refer to them,
in my dad's van.
In your dad's van?
Excuse me? Excuse me.
Ma'am, you want to give me some background?
Yes, Your Honor. My son was born January 2nd, 2001. When I finally contacted his father, he said, I do not want this baby at all. I don't want any more kids. I'd rather you have an abortion. I don't want anything to do with you or your son.
How long had it been from the time you all had been together?
We started in 2000. He came from New York City to do a play, and I was working at the theater where he was doing it. So I basically stayed at his apartment. There wasn't just hopping around in the van here, okay?
Wasn't always the back of the
No, come
van.
on now.
I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, come on now, like, it just...
I went cross country with a girl in the back of the van.
Hey!
I did. Go ahead.
So it took me 3 months after my son was born. However, I did find out that he was in Rochester when my son was born. He never saw his son for the first time till he was 6 months old.
Why do you think he wanted nothing to do with you and
He
the
already
child?
told me that he has 2 children, and what he did with his second child is took her away from her mother and dropped her off at his parents' house while him and his wife go live footloose and fancy-free out there. But he told me he didn't want anything to do because he already had 2 kids, and that was enough for him by 2 different mothers out of wedlock.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes,
Tell
sir.
me what happened.
Well, I think that it's important to note that Ms. Pointon does not take parenting at all seriously. During this estrangement, Your Honor, I asked for pictures of my son. Here is what she sent me. This was 2 years after my marriage, Your Honor. 2 years after my marriage.
Who is this?
This is her showing me where my son came from, not pictures of my son, Your Honor.
You didn't know that?
Oh, yes. I had been there before. Again, this was 2 years after my marriage.
Oh, you're married when she sent these?
Yes, sir.
He asked for them, sir.
All right. Go ahead.
In 2002, I signed the birth certificate for my son.
I have a copy of that right here, sir.
All right, then she agrees. Now what?
Yes, sir. The issue, Your Honor, is emotional distress. That I am agonized.
Based on what?
Based on my estrangement from my son.
She has done what, or refused to do what?
She has
beginning when?
She has beginning specifically since 2006, since I've been married. She says that I would not see my child. I would not ever see my child.
Because you're married?
Because
she's envious?
Well, all she told me was that my son was angry with me.
Why?
I don't know.
You didn't bother to ask. Why don't we first do a little research here?
Yes, sir.
All right? Why don't you ask why she told you you would never see your child and why your child is angry with you?
May I ask her?
Yeah, because it's been 4 years, so...
You mentioned that...
Just ask her the question.
Why is my son mad at me?
Because you don't ever call, and when you do call, my son gets off the phone and goes, how come my dad doesn't say I love you? Every communication that you have with my son or myself is through text message. Pick up the phone and call. I don't ever tell you that you are not allowed to call. You have always been granted visitation. I've never denied you that. You've told my father on numerous occasions. Called him. I am the parent. You do not call my father and tell him, I took fly fishing lessons so I could come down there with your son and go fly fishing. That's what you've done since the day he was born. It's text, and manipulation. I have that in text messages.
We'll get to that. I usually don't allow litigants to talk to each other, but it seems like you all have been avoiding doing that for 4 years. So I thought this might be a good time when you're in front of a third party to tell each other why you're having this dispute. Now, do you believe what she's saying about your son and the reason he's angry? All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
So, what else do you want me to know?
Your Honor,
how has she prohibited you?
Okay, here is a email sent to my son, and it says, I'm just checking in.
Let's see it, please.
Okay, that was 2009. I have not yet received an email from him. Okay, when she says that I have called, I don't receive any response back. I used to call on Sundays regularly, and I never received a response.
Why do you think your son doesn't respond?
Well, number one, I think that there is parental interference going on.
What do you think she's doing?
Well, I haven't been able to see him. I can't.
That doesn't show that she prevents it. That may be that, as she says, he doesn't want to see you because he's angry with you because you have failed to reach out to him on a regular basis. That's what she says.
Well, but that is a lie. I have several correspondences. The only means that I had to
read those that indicate she has interfered with you seeing your son.
Okay. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Poynton, despite numerous attempts throughout the years, Katie has remained uncooperative and unwilling to allow visits that would include my wife. These unrealistic requests have been a barrier since 2006. Okay.
Let me see that.
And they came in this certified registered envelope, mailed to my parents with this subpoena, Your Honor.
But why would he say that if you weren't prohibiting him?
I'm going to explode.
Come on up. State your name. State your name.
I'm Richard Poynton. The boy in question is my grandson. This is my daughter. Since 2001, Gary has not completed one promise that he has made to myself, Katie, or my grandson. He claims that he can't see him. We have never, ever refused him visitation. What he does is put a BS letter like this together, saying he's gonna do this, that, and the other thing, and you know what? He's all talk, and he doesn't follow through. This is a guy who hasn't given $1,000 in 9 years in child support. And the only reason we're here today is because Katie had to go on welfare in Florida. And part of going on welfare is you have to file a child paternity case. That's the only reason we did it. And because they have served Gary in California, that's why we're here today.
Was there a response to this?
No.
No, it came with a subpoena.
I understand.
Because for 10 years...
So the reason you didn't respond is because it was in the form of a court action?
Yes.
Okay, let's see the subpoena that came with it. You haven't paid any child support other than $1,000 in 9 years?
Sir, I opened up
I'm asking you a question.
It's more than that, sir.
How much?
Not much more than that, sir.
Why?
I have.
Although this hadn't have anything to do with visitation,
No.
Why haven't you paid?
Sir, because I'm adhering to our out-of-court settlement. I opened up a bank account.
Let's see that
for him.
out-of-court settlement that says you can pay only about $1,000 in 9 years. When is the last time you went to court?
March 2006, Your Honor.
And what happened then?
That's when they granted me visitation.
Okay, why did it take you 4 years to obtain a hearing for visitation? If it has been denied for 4 years, why haven't you done anything?
Because in good faith, Your Honor, I thought that we could work something out.
How much good faith did you intend to extend?
Well, until...
Just 4 years?
Well, no, sir. Until it was clear that we reached an impasse, that there was no further way that we could work this out.
Why did you wait? She started denying you visitation with your son. Why did you wait 4 years to suddenly want to see him?
I didn't suddenly want to see him, Your
Why
Honor.
did you wait 4 years to file the action?
I had been trying to see him.
Trying how?
Sir,
no, court action, sir.
No
court
court
action.
No court action.
Why? You wasn't paying child support. You could have saved the money and sued for visitation. How has she committed emotional distress, sir?
This estrangement from my son.
Okay, good enough. Your counterclaim, emotional distress. How did he cause you emotional distress?
Sir, when these text messages and stuff come through or the phone calls occasionally, my son has wet the bed due to speaking to his father on the certain occasions that he does. My parents have had to comfort me and put me, help me out. I mean, because I'm unemployed, I have no money and I have to comfort my son, like I said, getting off the phone.
Because he doesn't pay child support. What else?
Well, it's not only that, but I have to explain to my son why his father's not a part of his life.
Because his father won't visit him.
Exactly.
Right? His father says he won't visit because you won't allow him.
Well, no.
Anything else?
I just find it funny.
Anybody have any evidence or proof of all this?
This right here is a copy of my text messages of him manipulating me prior to coming to your court
Saying
about what he was going to say.
Read the parts that are relevant.
He said that I gave him a VD and an STD, and that I lied about getting roughed up to see if he was jealous. I never cared about you.
Is he talking about something when you all were going together?
Okay, well, right here, he says, you keep throwing me under the brush and brainwashing and painting me as a deadbeat dad. Tell him of the slut and one-night stands. Do you tell him that
Once again, he's restating that he believes you have been denying him.
Okay, that's fine.
When did you sign paternity?
Never.
He signed.
You've never. Somebody said there was a birth certificate signed.
Oh,
Right
2002.
here.
That's paternity.
Okay.
Have a good day. Both your cases are dismissed.
Child support's case is next.
I sure hope I can see my son.
All he's got to do is call and stop by and he can see his son. This is all BS.
Defiance of a court order is against the law.
Come on down. Come on down. You never come down. You never leave California.
When you do, you take your daughter across country instead of making a beeline for Florida so your daughter can see her brother.
This is the guy who got custody of his second daughter and dumped him off at his mother's house in New York and then left and spent the rest of his time in California.
With his wife.
This is how much he cares about his kids.
These are jealous, scornful people. This is ridiculous.
Tell me that's not true.
Jealous and scornful, and you're a coward.
Tell me it's not true.
We raised this son since he was
Tell me
born.
it's not true.